like cherry apricot jam because the light color of the apricots brightens up the cherries just a little bit. And sometimes I feel like apricots can be a little bit bland, just depending on the variety, especially if they're store-bought though. And the cherries elevate that up. So it makes for a really pleasant jam together that is this really nice color. I prepared my 2 pounds of cherries by removing the stems, washing them to remove any pesticide residue, and pitting them. Now be aware that sometimes this pitting machine will actually miss the pits, so I try to keep my eyes open for it. And I prepared 2 pounds of apricots by washing them, pitting them, and then quartering them. Now I have 2 different options at this point. I can mash all of my fruit together, but my preference actually is either to use a food processor or a blender, and just using it on low, get these mashed up nice and fine. I feel like when I do the mashing, I feel like it's still too big. I like them to be pretty small. As long as you do it on low, it's not bad. Be aware though, when you're doing the cherries, if you missed any pits, you'll be able to hear them in here and they'll kind of ping on the sides. If you're nervous about that, then you can just mash the cherries and that's fine. If you do hear any cherry pits though, you've got to get them out somehow. Now I'll blend it for just about 20 seconds on my lowest speed. Then I'll add my apricot quarters. And I just put them directly in with my cherries. I don't put them in with the cherries ahead of time because if I did, and then there ended up being a pit in there, that would be so much harder. And I'll blend it for another 20 seconds. So as soon as I can see that there's no more big chunks of the apricots, that's when I stop it. I don't want it to be all pulverized together. I want to actually be able to taste the different flavors as I hit the different bits in the jam. Then I'll place my fruit puree into my pan and I'll add 6 tablespoons of pectin, 1/4 of a cup of lemon juice, and 1/2 of a teaspoon of butter. This just reduces the foaming. Then I'll place this on the stove and bring it to a boil. Now that it's come to a boil, I'll add 7 cups of sugar. I want to add the sugar all at once because otherwise it may burn while I'm measuring it out. So I pre-measure it off to the side. And then I'll mix that in and bring it back to a boil. Now that it's come back to a boil, I'll set my alarm for 1 minute. I'll continue to stir throughout the minute because I don't want to risk burning it at this point. And all along the process, whenever I'm making anything with cherries, I'm always looking for pits, just in case. Now I'll fill my 1/2 pint jars up to 1/4 of an inch of headspace. Headspace is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. And you can see that it's just this really light color and the smell is so fun. I always think it's interesting, the different combinations that we can make. If I place too much in any of my jars, it's a really easy fix to just scoop some out of them and put them in the ones that need a little bit more. I'll use a clean damp cloth to wipe off the rim of my jars, and this is just so that if any jam got on the edge, that it won't interfere with the seal. Then I'll place my lids and rings on until they're fingertip tight. I'm using Superb lids today, which are my new favorite. It's an American company, and the quality I just feel like is there. They have this really thick blue seal that is just super spongy, and I feel like does a really good job of holding on to the jars. I've had super good luck with my sealing of these, which is good because I wouldn't want to affiliate with somebody who didn't have good quality. I have a link as well as a coupon code for 20% off in the description below. I'll process these in a boiling water bath for 10 minutes if I'm at sea level. I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll go for 15. But I won't start my timer until after it begins to boil. Now that the processing time is complete, I'll turn off the heat, remove the lid, and let it cool for 5 minutes. I'll then place my jars on a heat-resistant surface about 1 to 2 inches apart so that they can cool down quickly. I'll allow them to rest there for about 24 hours so that they get a good seal. I know that they have a good seal if the center of the lid has depressed down. If it has, then I remove the rings and wash them with hot soapy water, and then I'll store them in a cool, dry, dark location like my pantry, and use them in the next 1 to 3 years. If for some reason they haven't sealed, then I'll store them in the refrigerator and use them right away. So my cherry apricot jam, and I just made fresh bread, so this is kind of perfect. Always a good day to make jam, or always a good day to make bread on a jam day. And it's so fun because you get that characteristic apricot taste without getting bored. I know that sounds horrible, but sometimes I get bored by apricots. With the cherry in there with it, I really like it.